Okay, before you spend time on this Boomerang version of the trick, I did want to bring to your attention a Clawshot version that I found earlier. So you do it like this. Okay, like that. Yeah, as you can see, you have a fair bit of time to aim. But anyway, that only takes one Clawshot, and if you're in Palace of Twilight, then there's a good chance you have Clawshot. Especially for races, you're probably not going to enter Palace of Twilight without Clawshot, because the only check you can do, I believe, is this single chest here. So that means that this Boomerang of the trick is now essentially a no logic thing. And even if you didn't do that version of the trick with the Clawshot there, you can also get this check out of logic when you're bringing the soul back. And so there are definitely alternatives to using this Clawshot, or sorry, this Boomerang version. Maybe for like a spoiler log race, or yeah, no logic or something. Those are the main times that I could see you actually using this at this point. But yeah, I did just want to mention that before you spend a bunch of time trying to pull off this trick. So, but anyway, we'll go ahead and get into it with that said. Okay, let's talk about all the basic setup steps, and then we'll spend more time on the complex stuff after that. So the very first thing is getting rid of this guy here. You definitely want to do that, and the reason is that when you are trying to target on the Keese, like using L to lock on the Keese. So let's try to chase this guy down. Okay, so see how we got the target there? If that Baba is alive there, then he'll steal your target a lot of the time, so that's one reason. And then the other is that when you throw the Boomerang out, it will, a lot of the time it would cut him loose and then he'd be chasing you, and we would rather not worry about that. So that's the first thing you want to do. The next thing, if we go in here, maybe you can see there are 3 pots, one big one in the middle, and then there's like one small one there behind me and one small one here. And so we want to get rid of these ones because when you're over here and you're doing the like walking around in here to try to jump up, if these are here, then they can block your movement. It might not seem like it from here, but they definitely do get in the way. So yeah, that's the other really important step. And so you can either go in there as Wolf, or you can, probably the quicker option is to target them with Boomerang. And I like to make sure I have all 3 targeted, just so I can be certain that they're all gone, so that they don't cause problems later. Okay, so now that the enemy's gone and the pots are gone, let's go over the movement you're doing here. So what we want to do is lock onto the Keese and get one target, and then while we have that target we can look around, and then if we hold L, then we can also walk around and we're still maintaining that target, see? And so we can do this, and what we want to do once we have that target on the Keese is walk into this nook here where we get stuck. If we're aiming too much this way, then we don't get stuck, so yeah, don't aim too much that way. Or if we're, let's say we're too far right, then we might slide off, but that's not a big deal. We can just side hop back up here. Depending on your angle, if you're too much this way, then the side hop doesn't work, but we can just angle a little more and get up like that. But yeah, we want to get stuck here, and then that's the position there, and then we're going to do a line up here, which I will show some images for that. We do the other 4 targets here, and so that's the basics of the easy part. Alright, next I want to talk about the lineup that you do here. So this is where we already have the Keese targeted and we moved into that nook, and then we're trying to aim here. So if you notice, there is a line on top of this brick. And what we want to do is aim left and right such that this very tall vertical line, which is where the where the back wall and the right wall meet. So we want our cursor to be just to the left of that and touching it. Or if we are slightly more right, such that instead of this line being kind of touching the right side, maybe it's cutting through, you know, 25% of the orange dot or something, that's fine also. We definitely want the orange dot to be against this corner line though. You don't want it to be over here because we're trying to get the Keese into this corner. And then, so that's left and right. And then in terms of up and down, we have this brick line here. And we want to get it about halfway between the dot and the top of this rectangle. So if you see here, it's about halfway through, or sorry, halfway between them. And then you would prefer, if you had to not get it perfectly lined up, but if it was closer to either one, then you would prefer for it to be closer to the top one, just barely. So you can see here's the line, and so here's about how far it is from the dot, and here's about how far it is from the rectangle down here. So it's about in the middle, but we do have it closer to the dot, which would be preferred. So this is what I would say is kind of the absolute ideal position. For lining this up, this is one of those things where you definitely want to lean in so you can get a good view of your screen, and you want to take your time here because the thing you're aiming for is actually a pretty good distance away from you, which means that slight changes in angle have a pretty big effect in terms of where the Keese lines up. Left and right isn't as important, but up and down definitely. You want to make sure you're aiming about this high, because if the Keese is too high, then you're not going to be able to see it, and it will be very difficult to do the super jump. And then if the Keese is too low, to where it's like right above the ground, then it's simply not possible to do the super jump, period. Too high, it's also kind of not possible in some cases if it's like really high. But anyway, this is the angle you want to get. And when I do some trial runs near the end of the video, you'll be able to see me line this up multiple times. And I'll try to not, or I'll try to take the appropriate amount of time instead of rushing that, because it can lead to problems if you rush it. But yeah, that's it for this angle. Okay, now let's talk about throwing the Keese into the corner here. So I have about that lineup I was talking about, and then what we're going to do here is release Boomerang, and that will grab the Keese and take it into the corner there. And if we just wait without doing anything, then it will come all the way back to us here, which is obviously not quite what we're looking for. And so what we actually want to do is, after we release Boomerang, or I guess you could even do it before, you want to hold L so that we're kind of locked here. And the significance is that when you press A, so you're holding L, press A to roll, and then we'll very easily do a roll into the into this fog. And I'm actually kind of glad that I, if you notice on that very first one how I rolled in, yeah, like this, and then I didn't transform. So yeah, that's kind of hard to get, but it's fortunate we're getting it here, because what you want to do is, after you roll and start falling, you hold forward on the stick, so that in the event that you get that where you don't transform, you will transform. So anyway, that's kind of a option select that you do in terms of the setup, but if that doesn't make sense, don't worry about it, it's okay. But okay, so what we want to do, let's say we release that and hold L, and then once the Boomerang gets near the corner, we do the roll, like that. And then we're in here doing the rest of the setup, which that's the most difficult part, the actual super jump. So we don't need to get into that yet. But okay, let's go after we do the roll. So we release Boomerang, hold L. Once it gets near that far corner... Okay, here's another one case that I wanted to go over. So let's go here. Get another target. Okay. So you're getting... I'm getting all of the edge cases while I'm going over this, which is good. Because I don't know if I would run into them. But anyway, see how you got stuck on the right wall? That's pretty rare, but when it happens, then you want to handle it how I handled it there, where you kind of move here so that when the Keese returns, then it's over here, and then you get the target, and then reset the position. It is possible to avoid that to an extent. I don't necessarily recommend it. You can use your audio to kind of see where it is, and you can also use the C-stick like this to see where it is. Yeah, it's when the Boomerang grabs the Keese and it's really far to the right is when that'll happen. In a similar way, so let's get him out of here. So sometimes if the Keese is way over here, then it will get stuck on this far left wall, but that's okay because what'll happen is it'll teleport when you roll down here and transform. The Keese will teleport to where the Boomerang is. So even though the Keese itself was stuck on the wall, it will teleport back to that corner, which is where we want it. So yeah, that might be a bit scattered because I wasn't really planning to go into those edge cases immediately, but they kind of presented themselves. But now that that stuff's out of the way, let's focus on the movement here again. So we release, once the Boomerang is approaching that corner, then we'll do press A to roll, and then hold forward so that we'll be sure that we enter the fog. And then we're going to dash toward the far wall and tap down on the C-stick while we're approaching the wall. And then I'll pause once we get up there. Okay. So then we're going to dash. Okay. And so that's kind of what's happening here. So now what we have to do is react to the Keese. Okay. That part is quite involved, so let's record that in a different segment. Okay, next I want to go over the wolf movement once you make it to that far wall. So you roll into the fog, transform, and then you kind of run to the opposite wall, right? When you hit the opposite wall, you're going to hold B, and then that puts you in the state where you're stepping around. And so while you're in that state, the very first thing you want to do, you hold B, tap down so that you do one step, and then pause so that you are kind of in the correct position, and then you can start reacting to the Keese's behavior. So let me just do a save state from here. So run to the far wall, step back once, and pause. And notice that stepping back, all I have to do is tap back, and then the step will automatically play out. So I can tap back once, and see how I do a step. I can tap for 2 steps, or 3 steps, like that. So you want to tap for 1 step and pause, and then look at the Keese at that point. And so we can also tap left to do steps like that. So yeah, you can tap to do left steps. You can also do another back step, left steps, like that. And so that's typically how the movement will look. Sometimes if the Keese flies, like if you do the step back and then you see, oh, it's going like all the way left, then sometimes you'll hold left to chase it down. But that's generally the movement that you'll be doing there. The most difficult part, I would say, is if you do 1 step back and then like part way through you say, oh, actually I need to do another step back, then you can kind of do it like that. Oh, sorry about that. That might have been loud. Bumped the mic. But yeah, so that's kind of how the movement is going. And so how you actually want to move is based on the Keese behavior and like how low or high it is, and you know, how is it moving really far left or right? Is it approaching from like kind of the top of the screen, or is it really low the entire time? And then the height can kind of change while it travels as well, so you kind of want to match that. Now if you're just doing this for a like a no logic thing and you don't necessarily care about you know, having a really high success percentage here, like it's not a race or something, then you kind of don't need to, like I'll go into a bunch of detail with the assumption that you do want to get quite good at this, but yeah, outside of a race setting there's probably not that much reason to, but anyway, just want to give all the details of what's going on here. So okay, moving on. Okay, so first let's talk about high and low positions for the Keese. So this is where we're doing the aiming as we looked at previously, and you can see this might be a bit difficult to see, but it's that horizontal line in between the bricks that we are using for the visual cue. So the chest is over here to the left, and so here's another angle. This is after we roll in and transform, and so this, yeah, here's the chest over here, and then this line that we were looking at is this line in between the dot and the rectangle here. So this line here is right here, and so this would be a low position vertically for the Keese to end up at. So this is low. Up near this next line, so see how there's this line here, this would be high, and then in between we kind of have like the middle would be the middle of the brick, and then this would be kind of like on the lower side, on the higher side. Generally the Keese should end up somewhere within this range, and then when it changes position it usually should get no lower than this line, and it shouldn't really get super high. I did one time randomly. Now I've done this setup in like trial runs a lot at this point. Definitely more than 100 times, maybe approaching 200, I'm not sure. And I've only had it one time where the Keese just randomly decided like, hey, I'm just going to immediately fly super low and get right on top of the ground. If that happens, then you can't, it's not possible. So you just need to bail and then do the setup again. Yeah, I wouldn't even mention that if I hadn't seen it like one freak time, but anyway, just wanted to mention that. But most of the time, once the Keese starts flying away from the wall, it will be within this in terms of how high up and down it is. Okay, next let's talk about its left and right pathing. So this back corner here, this is where the Keese will approximately end up once you do the transform in the fog. It should be somewhere near this back right corner, and it has a lot of different paths it can take. One, it like flies immediately left, just like hard left, maybe even more than I show here, and then it makes it to this wall, and then it kind of just follows the wall. Or sometimes it like heads left but then doesn't quite go all the way to the left. Or sometimes it'll go left and then it'll be like really far left and then it'll kind of back off some. Or a lot of them, if it's like headed more toward the middle, then it's usually flying in more of a straight line, though it can still be somewhat curved. Or alternatively, sometimes it'll be flying toward this right wall, and then eventually it'll start flying back this way, or it'll stay close to the wall, just different paths like that. So there are a lot of options here, and the good news is that kind of regardless of what the Keese does, if you were to do a save state, then it is possible to it would have been possible to succeed. You just made a mistake somewhere, and then some of the paths that the Keese can do, and some of its behavior is really difficult, so it's kind of understandable to mess those up, but theoretically, regardless of what the Keese does, you probably like 99% of the time it would have been possible, and there was just some sort of user error there. But anyway, don't feel bad because this is difficult. Anyway, the other thing to mention is that while it is, if I didn't already mention this, while it's going through these routes, it can also change its like vertical position a little, and you kind of want to react to that as well. So this is pretty difficult, and it's not the kind of thing where I can just say, I'll just do this one thing and it'll work every time. You kind of have to learn how to follow the Keese's behavior and react to it and change your position and your timing sometimes depending on what the Keese looks like. And so due to the fact that there are a bunch of different things that can happen, what I'll be doing is doing several trial runs. I'll either do like 10 or 20 or something. I haven't really decided. I'll just see what I feel like when I start doing them. Yeah, and then we'll just go from there. My success rate on this right now is, I'd say, above 90%. I think from my last 40 trials that I did, I'm at 3 where I messed it up, and so that puts me at like 92.5% or something. So you can get pretty decent at this, but it requires practice, and it's probably something where you your ability to do it would fall off over time, so you might have to review it, which isn't necessarily super worth it. But anyway, okay, I think that's enough about the routes here. Right, before we get into it, there's just one more thing I wanted to mention while we're looking here, and that is that if the Keese is really high, then we kind of want to take one step back from the wall, and then if the Keese is on the lower side, then we want to take 2 steps back from the wall. And so to start, we'll just take 1 back most of the time, unless the Keese is like super low, and then we'll say, okay, well, let's go ahead and take 2 back. But you can kind of just do it however. But yeah, high is 1 step back, low is 2 steps back. Yeah, I think we're ready to get into it. I will keep track of my trial runs here to see if I pass or fail. And then another thing I'll do is do a save state once we roll into the fog, so that if I do mess one up, I can try it again and then see, was there a way to actually succeed there? Some of them can be pretty difficult, where like I fail and then it's okay, let's try it again, and then I fail again. In those cases, it usually means that the Keese is doing like a pattern where you have to be quite precise in order to have it succeed. But anyway, let's go ahead and just knock these out. So I have, this save state, and I believe, the PoTs are already gone, and the enemy's already gone, and so let's go ahead and get started on these. So we want to kind of chase him down and get a target, and then I usually do a back hop once I get the target. And so, and I apologize in advance because this is something where you have to lean in to do the aiming, so you're probably going to hear my voice get louder for some of these, and that's where I'm leaning in. Okay, so that's on the lower side. So 1 step back to get started, and then we're watching him. Okay, so he's going left. Usually, they go quite far left, so we can kind of just go all the way left. Now he's still low, so I'm going to take a 2nd step back, which I don't know if I got successfully. Now when he's really low like that, in fact, he's so low that I don't know if it's possible here. But in that case, we can wait for the 2nd target, so like that. May or may not work. Okay, it did work. Just barely. So that one gets a pass. Gets a pass. Was not super confident there, but we got it. Yeah, when they're very low, you want to do an extra buffer. So even though you get the target, you do 1 more item wheel buffer to just advance a few more frames. in order to get him closer to the edge so that you don't bonk into the wall. So that is an example of like a really low Keese. And you can look at that line on the back wall to kind of tell if they're high or low. So let's try again. Okay, so that's about mid. Okay, so he's kind of flying toward the middle. I'll take another step back because he was on the low side. So he's flying left and it looks like he's going up, so I want to try to match him. Okay, so now he's not going left so much. On the higher side. So I might want to be slightly more right. Okay, this might work. Okay, there we go. So that one's a pass. Alright, oops, sorry. Bumped, hopefully that wasn't too loud. Alright. Next one. So he's flying kind of toward me and he's low, so I'll take a second step back. And okay, now he's increasing in height and he's still left of me. I might need to do one step left. We'll see. But once he catches sight of me, he'll kind of approach me on his own. Which it looks like he's not really doing, so I moved left a little. There we go. I hope that works. Okay, yeah. Okay, so that's a pass. I'm always a bit nervous about this. Okay, let's try another one. Okay, so he's on the higher side here. So one step back and then we'll watch him. Okay, so he's staying quite high, and so in the case that he's very high like that, what we want to do is try to match directly across from him with only one step back like we've done here. So you can kind of see his wings. Okay, now he's lowering. Oh, no. But yeah, we're matching his position left and right. Okay, so yeah, this one can be difficult, but I think we did what we could, so let's see what happens. Okay, so that worked out. So that's a pass. Alright, let's try another. Okay, I might be aiming slightly low here, but that's okay. Okay, he made it through. Let's see. Okay, he's quite high, so we'll do one step back. And then he's moving left. So we'll try to match. Yeah, and the rate that they move down can kind of vary, so you definitely just want to do quick buffers every time because you never know when you're going to get the target. Now this seems like a pretty early target, so I may or may not bonk here. We'll see. Okay, no, we got it. So yeah, a lot of the time I'm kind of like, oh no, is that gonna work? But it usually works. So okay, this time he's actually targeting because I got too close. Okay, so I went over here to lose target, and then we can kind of hop back up here. Oops. Okay, and then we're good to go. Alright, let's do this lineup. Something like that. And we're getting a bunch really close to this right wall. Okay, so he's quite high up, so one step back. And he's just aiming slightly left, so I'll do one left step to try to get across from him. Okay. Hopefully. Okay, nice. So that is another pass. Alright, let's do another one. There we go. Oh, he's chasing me again. Okay. Yeah, usually I don't have that happen, but maybe based on where I have the save state is padding there. But anyway. Okay. So since I didn't get caught in the nook there, I aimed slightly more to the right. Okay, there we go. Okay, something like that. Okay, he's on the lower side, but I'll just do the one step back. Okay, is he... I think he's flying left, so we'll match that. Okay, now he went higher, but not super high, so I'll still do one step back. So now we're 2 steps back, directly across, which I don't super like, but... I think we got him early enough. Maybe this works? I think this is the one I'm the least confident in so far, but... Yeah, I think I didn't need to go all the way left. If I was a little more right here, I would feel better about it, but anyway, let's see what happens. Okay, we made it. Yeah, if we got that target just a little later, then we might not have made that, but anyway, it's okay. Still got the pass. Okay. Okay, that looks okay. Okay, one step back. Let's watch. So he's flying into the right wall. Go ahead and do the left step once. So he's quite high, mostly off the screen. So we want to match. So he's flying more left, so I'll do another left step. Okay, coming down. That's pretty early, but it worked out okay. All right. That was a pass. Something like that. Might be a little low compared to the ideal. Okay, so he's pretty high. So let's see. So he's going left, quite far left, on the higher side. So I did a step back again. Might not have been necessary. Alright, let's see. Okay, got it. So, yeah, he was kind of in a more middle height. He ended up going higher. So one step may have worked, but in general, when he's like all the way to the left, I tend to prefer 2 steps back in general there, but anyway. Okay, let's do a little one. Alright, let's try that. Okay, so he's at a middle height. Let's see. Flying into the right. Okay, more of a middle height. So let me... Okay, he's flying left and I'm offset to the right once. He's... I'll do... Okay, a step back. Okay, so that was not recommended. I got it, but I think the only reason I got that is because I've done this quite a while, or quite a bit. So yeah, that one was a little scuffed. I was expecting him to fly closer to the right side. So like if I'm up against the right wall here. I ended up doing like 2 left steps and then kind of a back. I think maybe like 1 left, maybe 1 more back would have worked, but anyway, we got it. Yeah, we can keep going. I guess I'll do another 5. So right now we're 10 for 10. Okay, now he's really, yeah, he was really not coming over this way, but okay. Alright, get stuck there. Yeah, I would say the hardest ones are like when the Keese is more right. Surprisingly, those ones are kind of the most difficult. Okay, so he's pretty low here. Flying into the right. Go ahead and... I think it's usually safe to do 1 step. Okay, so he is still quite low, so I'm gonna... Okay. So yeah, I'll do the 2nd step back. Oh, whoops, didn't mean to open that. But, yeah, so... I got caught off guard because I was talking... I was about to talk more informally than I wanted. Okay. Yeah, I managed to get that one. I don't know that there was a ton to say there. He was very low, so I ended up taking 2nd step back. But anyway, that's 2 pretty scuffed ones in a row. We still haven't failed it, so that's okay. But let's keep going here. Okay, so I heard he got stuck on that left wall, but then teleported. Okay, so he's definitely going left. I want to see how far left. And I can't see, so I'm going to try to match him because he's very high. And when he's very high, you want to try to be directly across from him. And he may move left and right a little, but that's okay. And then on the very first target, you release. So that's another pass. Alright, let's try again. I kind of want to get one, like a clean one where he's low. We'll see if that happens. I did have one kind of like that earlier, but anyway. That's pretty decent. Okay, decently low. Let's see. So, okay, going very left. And he's still low, so I took a 2nd step back and I'm a little offset. And yeah, he is quite low because he's underneath the line. So I'll wait for the 2nd target here. Okay, so that was the first one. And then I buffer again, like that. And yeah, when the Keese is very low, you kind of want to get the target and then do one more buffer just to advance a few frames. Okay. Might be a little low on that. Okay, so he's pretty high. Flying to the right. I'll go ahead and do my 1 step left. It's pretty much safe to do 1 step left every time. Okay, so he's probably aiming left of me. Okay, I did another left step to catch up with him some. And I'm only 1 step back. Okay, now he's matching me. Okay, hopefully? Yeah, okay. Yeah, so the problem there is that I think I either should have taken a 2nd step back, because he wasn't that high. He wasn't really high enough for 1 step back. And then also, I don't know that I should have, like I might have taken 1 step too many left. And I think that was definitely too much, but in order to get a good angle there, I think the solution was basically a 2nd step back and one fewer step to the left. Okay, let's try that again from the save state. So we'll go ahead and do the standard 1 back, 1 left. And so we're watching him. So yeah, he's just barely flying left. And so, oh, okay. Well, I managed to get the target before doing the step back, so anyway, that ended up working out, but that one is a fail. Our very first failure on the 14th one. But yeah, that's my mistake. But yeah, some of them are more difficult than the others, I would say. And that one, like when you aren't sure about should I take that extra step or not, or should I back up one more or not, it can be kind of difficult. So, but oh well, that's okay. Let's take that. Okay, I take another step back. Flying to my left. Okay, he sees me. Oh god, this is that same thing. But I am one more step back this time, so... Okay, yeah. Yeah, I think the problem was that I needed to be 2 steps back previous time, but... Okay, that's a pass. I guess I will go ahead and do 5 more. I have been doing 20 trials every time I want to test how I'm doing here, so I can go ahead and finish out with those. I'm at 1 failure, which is like ideally I don't get more than that. That would put me at 95%, which is decent. Sorry, I think I was rushing there. But I think I was a little high. That's pretty good. Okay, so he's flying into the right wall. Decently low, so I'll back up a second time. And he's flying... So he's flying slightly left of me. But he might be directly across from me, which I don't really want. So I'm going to try to be offset to his left. So I'm going to, yeah, step pretty far left. Okay, there we go. I think this looks good. There we go. Okay. I think he got caught on the left wall again. Okay, he's pretty high up here. And just a little left. Still on the high side though, so I can probably try to match for the most part. See if he notices me. Not really, so okay, I took 1 more step left, but now he's noticed me. I think I'm... I think I'm 1 step... Okay, I think I was 1 step back, but I managed to get that one. Alright, let's try again. My legs falling asleep, so hopefully I can finish these quickly without having to readjust. Okay. Yeah, so what happened there is I was kind of, do I want to be on the left or right of him? I ended up going left of him, and he was kind of at more of a middle height. So I did take a second step back because what I'm gathering is that one step back is mainly for when the Keese is like quite high, and that was more medium, so. Okay, 2 more attempts. Okay. That might be a little high. Okay, he got stuck, but yeah, teleported. He's pretty high there, 1 step back. Let's see, okay, he's aiming more leftish to the middle. Okay, now he is quite high, so I'm gonna try to match position. Okay, there we go. So that one was a simple, the Keese is high, and so you try to get directly across from it. Alright, last one. Not liking I'm getting this. Okay, that seems pretty nice. Okay, he's pretty high right now. Let's see, flying just a little left. Pretty high, quite high now, off screen. So I'm going to try to match, 1 step back. Yeah. Okay, well, there you have it. So that was 20 trials with 1 failure. Yeah, and that failure was my fault. I just got myself into a weird position. Should have been 2 steps back, I think, but anyway, 19 out of 20, not bad. We'll go ahead and wrap this section up. But okay, we can go ahead and wrap this video up. So, yeah, as you saw, it's possible to get pretty consistent at it, but the only reason I worked on it so much is because I thought it might be irrelevant for races, but then I ended up finding that Clawshot version after spending all that time, the one I showed near the start. So yeah, this one becomes kind of not super useful, so had I known that previously, I don't know that I even would have made a setup necessarily. But anyway, I think it's good that it's done. I don't really expect anyone to practice it enough to get at the level I am at currently, just because it's not like necessarily a great use of time. But hopefully if you are in a position where you, I don't know, really want to learn this for some reason, or it is relevant for some reason, anyway, hopefully this video is able to help. It is a pretty cool trick. Yeah, with all that said, I am definitely ready to move on because I need to work on other things. So yeah, hopefully this video can help you, and it was at least interesting. So but that'll be it, and good luck with the trick.